Welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast, brought to you by the Fans Six Pack. I am your handsome host. What the hell? I'll give myself a compliment on this beautiful day with my very good friend named Jason Beckner. Jason, how are you today?
Doing good, Nick. I'm really excited to get into this week's episode. We got some special things on tap this week, so let's do it.
I am excited. And much like Bash at the Beach in 1996, today we have a third man. And no, it is not Hulk Hogan. It is our Fantasy Six Pack co-worker. Would you call it co-worker?
Yeah.
Mr. Dave.
Co-contributor. Something like that.
Co-contributor. Love that. Mr. Dave Whitcomb. Jason, can you please just go ahead and add the third man in? Again,
hey,
not Hulk Hogan, but Dave is here. Dave, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Definitely not Hulk Hogan.
Definitely not Hulk Hogan. Well, you are indeed alive, so.
Yes. Thankful for that.
Same here. All right, but you do have a Yankee hat on, so that's not great. But
sorry,
I will not hold that against you for the next 45-ish minutes.
Yeah,
but
I was born into it. Don't hold it.
So before we play our iconic music and music video that I have created, we are going to start with a cold open question of the week. It is going to be about baseball, and my question is, it's mostly directed at Dave because I don't really know. I know Jason. I know where Jason's at on certain players. I really don't have any idea. I want you to tell me, is Seth Hernandez the number one pitching prospect in all of baseball? Jason, hit the music. 3. All right, Dave, what do we got?
Well, that was intense.
Don't spoil the lead, but we'll get into
I was going to say kind of burying the lead. For me, no, but certainly can make a case, and that's a cop-out answer if there was one. But again, I'm not gonna give away too much because I'm going to talk about them in detail whenever we're ready. But no, it is for me the number one pitching prospect in baseball is Cade Henderson.
Love that.
Perfect answer.
Too much. All right. Well, before we get started on some of these guys, we do have Dave Whitcomb here joining us. Please go ahead and take a few minutes, let the people know, what you're all about, what you got going on.
Sure. So I'm a co-contributor, whatever you want to call it. A little laggy here. You guys hear me? Okay. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yep.
Anyway, bottom line is that I'm a co-contributor, as you said, here at Fantasy Six Pack, and as you mentioned earlier, I'm a Yankees fan. I write Dynasty content mostly at Six Pack. I also take care of our closer chart, which I update usually about twice a week. It's pretty handy for those of you who are in the saves and holds leagues in particular, or looking to speculate on saves. Try to look to see who's next in line, whatever. And then I have a couple of pieces that come out, like semi-weekly pieces. One is a the post-type prospects piece, I guess is what it boils down to. And then the other one is bullpen report, like who's in trouble, who's not, who's next up, that kind of thing. So more in depth than the closer chart. That was a lot of words.
No, that was great. I'm surprised. I know we've been together with Fantasy Six Pack for a few years now, I believe, at least a year or two. I'm surprised it's taken us this long to kind of co-contribute because we kind of both do the same thing. Talking about dynasty leagues and getting into some prospects and some of those long-term league outlooks as opposed to just that redraft one-year league. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
glad to have you on. I think this is something that it's been long overdue. So thanks for joining us.
Great, happy to be here.
And I know we picked out a few guys here. We're going to talk about some of these. Me and Nick have kind of switched over now. The last few weeks we've been kind of getting into some of these rookies, top prospects. Are we buying? Are we selling? Where are we at on some of these guys long term? And I think it's kind of. We usually start to show off with the rookies and the major leaguers right now, and then we'll kind of get into some more of the prospects here at the end of the show. So without further ado, let's jump into our first guy here.
If
That's gonna be
Jason, if you'll indulge me real quick before we start, because I seem to be having some sort of lag issue. I'm going to leave the room and come right back.
No worries.
All right.
All right, Nick.
Who do we got first?
We got.
I'll
Go ahead and talk about Henry Bolte of the Athletics. I'd like. It's always weird. I always want to call him like the Oakland. I still get like hung up on that as being the Oakland Athletics, but I'm just gonna keep him at the Athletics. But yeah, he's someone that came up about really having a really nice minor leagues year to start this 2026 season, and then obviously he's been up with the Athletics and just having a really nice start to the season. He's got a batting average, batting .310 right now, but I definitely have some concerns. David's back with us now, and how are we doing on that audio there?
It's the audio is no problem. It's just the video is definitely lagging behind for me, but that's okay. I'm sure our listeners at home don't really care. Go ahead.
Exactly. So yeah, we're talking about Henry Bolte here, 22-year-old rookie of the Athletics. Had a really nice start to the season, 2026, and now up with the big league club. And is enjoying a little bit of a breakout here to start the season. Slashing, he's got a .310 batting average. But I definitely have some concerns, but I'd like to see what our guest has to think about Mr. Bolte.
Oh, sure. Yeah. All right. I'm leading off with Henry Bolte, who maybe one day might lead off for a team. He's Bolte's interesting to me. He's true 80 grade speed. I watch for whatever reason. I subject myself to athletics games more often than I should. Anyway, but the true 80 with probably 60 raw. But there's a hit tool, and hit tool is lagging. Fangraphs gave it a 30 future in April, which is not great. That's borderline not big leaguer. But that was based solely on his never above 69% contact rate prior to this year. Somebody slipped Hank a note in study hall, I guess, right? Because all of a sudden at AAA this year, his contact rate was up 7 percentage points, almost 7 percentage points. So he got a promotion to the big leagues. Contact rate has dipped back down. It's understandable. He's at the big league level now. But there's some stuff to like. The bat speed is elite. 77 miles per hour bat speed is the same as Kyle Schwarber. The exit velo is also quite good, 91.7 miles per hour. Sam Solo tied with power hitter, pretty good power hitter, and his hard hit rate is at 15.7%, 0.2 of a percentage point ahead of Junior Caminero, who we know hits the ball slightly hard. So wrap it up. I don't know. He's just a straight athlete. He's just a baller. He's out there. He's learning how to hit. He's probably just gotten by on his raw tools pretty much at every level. Certainly in high school, he was drafted out of high school in California. If he matures into somebody who has a little bit more contact, he could really blossom if he sticks where he is with kind of a 35-40 raw or contact tool. Then he's probably more like a second division outfielder or maybe a fourth outfielder. But so far, it's an exciting player. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I agree. A lot of the things you said, I agree with a lot. The speed is legit. He's already got 6 stolen bases, only 32 games right at the major league level. He's coming off back-to-back 40-plus stolen base seasons at the high levels in the minors. But yeah, the off to a little bit of a head over skis start here. The BABIP's up to 439 right now, so obviously that batting average of 310. Got the XBA of only 224, so get a little bit of some luck off that bat. But hey, sometimes as a rookie, that's what you kind of need. But yeah, I totally agree with you. The speed's legit. The hitting and the on base, I think, could be there long term. And I think right now, if you got any sort of athletics in your lineup and they're playing at home, they need to be in your lineup because that park, and not only the Sacramento park, but now they've been even getting into Las Vegas and some of that AAA, that Aviator Field. It's just a launching pad there too. So Henry Bolte wheels up. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I'm right there with the both of you guys, honestly. What I love is he's hitting the fastball well, and I feel like that's kind of like one of like the true tests of a young hitter is if you can hit a fastball, then you're gonna be okay. Ask Rafael Devers, he really can't hit a fastball like 90% of the time. So yeah, he's an interesting player just because he is still so young. Like he's still only 22. We saw his cup of coffee last year, and like you said, the expected numbers aren't great. But that's just kind of what young players are. He's just someone to like latch onto and hope that next year is that like if this is who he is, that next year he shows that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love it. Well, from one rookie to next, I think this is one of the guys. Dave's not familiar with our show, but as far as much as we are, but Sam Antonacci, something that we've been touting on this episode, on this show for months now, dating even back to pre World Baseball Classic. I think he was one of our Nick's picks to click back in the end of last year. But Sam Antonacci is off to a really nice start here. Like I talked about it before, had a really nice World Baseball Classic. And so far this year, he's been showing out basically what we kind of expected from the Sam Antonacci. Really nice approach at the plate. Doesn't chase out of the zone. Doesn't really expand the zone. He's got a 90% zone contact rate. So, definitely more of a hit over power type, profile. But me and Nick have been head over heels over Sam. But what do you think, Dave? Are you buying? Are you selling with what we're putting down for Sam Antonacci?
I guess I'm holding, I guess is what it boils down to, because there's no selling Sam. You're not getting anything for Sam Antonacci, so there's no point in selling, right? That's like dropping. So I will fully admit this guy wasn't even on my radar a little bit coming into the season. So I credit you as Nick. He was a prospect crush for you last year.
I've probably guessed on so many guys, and this is the one that hit, and I am so glad it's the Italian.
Yeah, I'll say it was probably the Italian heritage that led Nick down this road to fall in love with Sam.
Hey, whatever gets you there. But yeah, he's a key stoner by trade. And then the White Sox have installed him in left field, where he's been something of a nightmare. He's 3 outs above average below, negative 3 outs above average, and obviously limited chances because he didn't start the season with the team. But he can, like you said, he controls the zone incredibly well. He's got like Michael Garcia-like contact rates. But the problem is he doesn't really impact the ball all that much when he makes the contact. His average exit velocity is in the bottom third, his barrel rate's in the bottom half, and his hard hit is in the bottom quarter. So the ball doesn't exactly fly off his bat, like Henry Bolte, for example, who hits best missiles. He just doesn't hit it all that often. So I don't know. He strikes me as the type, depending on your format, he's probably a better roto player than a points player because he's going to hit for a good average, and he's going to score some runs when he's at the top of the lineup. But as far as anything else, you're probably not getting a lot in homers, or you're probably not even all that many steals, maybe a handful. But I would further caution something that kind of hit my radar while I was looking at him earlier today is that if Everson Pereira ever decides to stay healthy for more than 3 days in a row, he very well could slip, because Antonacci goes to the bottom of the lineup when they're facing a lefty right now. If Pereira gets healthy, I could see that turning into a straight platoon. Now, Antonacci would be the strong side of the platoon, but you're missing out on a couple days a week or a day a week when they face lefties. So I don't know. He's not a bad player. He's carved out a big league role, and that's what he is. He's a big league ball player. He's never going to be a star, but he's a solid player.
Yeah, I think like we talked about a little bit, sliding him to the outfield is doing us fantasy players a disservice, right? Because depending on how your league settings are set up, if he continues to not get any starts in the infield, the keystone position specifically, his value next year will most likely be minimal at best. Because unless you're in some super deep league where you're starting like 6-something outfielders, I can't imagine he's knocking on the door to get in your starting lineup in a 3 outfield league.
Right.
So right now, this year though, going forward in this specific year for redraft purposes, I think he does have more value now than future value just because of that position flexibility and your roster flexibility. But yeah, again, doesn't do anything super great other than maybe help you with some ratios. But other than that, not a ton of power, not a ton of speed. So maybe some runs at the top of the lineup, but other than that, not value there. Anything to add on that one, Nick?
What does Brad Pitt say in Moneyball when he describes a player? He gets on base. That's all that matters for me. Yeah. I'm not counting on Antonacci, and nobody should be counting on this guy to be a cornerstone of their offense in fantasy baseball. But he's just that perfect fill-in player, in a daily league. Great guy to have on your bench. I'm excited to just kind of follow his career, mostly because of my affliction of him going in the end of last season and into this season. And once that World Baseball Classic happened, I feel like the cat was out of the bag. But yes, totally agree. Definitely not a league winning type, but 16 plus team leagues, he needs to be on a roster somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep, love it. All right, let's jump over to the other side of the aspect of fantasy baseball. Let's talk about a pitcher here. One that's very intriguing to me. That's Logan Henderson of the Brewers. Currently on the IL at the moment with a back injury, which some of that is what leads to my concern with him is the back injuries are never fun for anybody, especially that of a pitcher. But yeah, I can go a little bit further, but let's see what's David think about our Logan Henderson.
Okay, so I get to lead off every time. Apparently,
the guest, right?
You're the guest. Do my best Ricky Henderson impersonation. Yeah. So Logan Henderson. I'm going to go change-ups, and more change-ups. So he is. I'm going to go with generously listed at 6 feet tall. I didn't bother to do the research because I decided it was a little over the top, but I'm like 98.2% sure that he was listed at 5'10" last year, and he presumably didn't grow. But I actually couldn't be more out on Logan Henderson. Reason being, there's the injury risk. He got injured. He made his big league debut last year, got hurt. Now he's got a back thing. He had Tommy John in college, and he is short for a starting pitcher, even at 6 feet. He's shorter starting pitcher, especially right-handed. Low velocity fastball. The change is wonderful, but he kind of strikes me as somebody who goes through the league 2 or 3 times, and they realize that you can't blow them away. You sit on the fastball because you don't worry about the changeup. You spit on the changeup, sit on the fastball. His strikeout numbers have been great at every level of college and the minors, the whole thing. But I'm going to give you a fun fact here. In the wild card era, so since 95, there have been all of 3 right-handed starting pitchers who strike out at least a batter per inning and were 6 feet tall or shorter. One is Pedro Martinez. I'm going to comfortably say Logan Henderson is not Pedro Martinez.
Yeah.
One is Tim Lincecum, who did have an over-the-top fastball. He's not Lincecum either. The other one is Sonny Gray, who I guess maybe he doesn't have the breaking ball. Sonny Gray's got the curveball, whatever. But I don't know. Maybe he could be Sonny Gray like that. But that's like the absolute best case upside for him, I think, is Sonny Gray. And I don't think he gets there. But maybe. I don't know. Anyway, he's not impossible to pull off. History doesn't dictate future, but bottom line is it's a long shot for me.
That I love to hear because I, too, am out on Logan Henderson. And I was going to bring this up as a little topic to discuss here. I kind of talked with it about Nick off the air. I recently traded away. This was prior to injury. Logan Henderson. I traded away Logan Henderson to a league mate for Bubba Chandler and Casey Cunningham. So I basically did it off just the pure upside of Bubba. I know Bubba's kind of having a little bit of a rough go this year. And there's obviously, he's a year about the same, I think he's the same age or a year younger than Logan. So Casey Cunningham's off to a really nice start at the minor league level too. So I traded away Logan Henderson. And at the time I was a little on the fence with it. And now that about a month has gone by, and I think I'm feeling better and better as the days go by about that trade. I know Nick was with the in the same boat as me of getting the duo of Bubba Chandler and Casey Cunningham. But to hear you say that you're out on him as well, just kind of reassures me. So I love that.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually, if I can just mention one more thing about it, is that,
go ahead.
You mentioned Bubba Chandler in my home league or whatever you want to call it. I was considering making a move, and I ultimately didn't, but I was considering making a move of giving Jose Soriano for Bubba Chandler and another minor league, it doesn't matter. But my thought process was I'm a pretty big Keith Law disciple. He's my prospect guy, my go-to guy or whatever. And he talks about like nothing's changed, right? We're not, it's not even 4th of July yet or whatever we're going to call it, right?
Yep.
Like the data hasn't changed all that much. You would have done that in the New York Minute in February, right? So like we've got all of like 60 innings. What are we doing here, right? Chandler was his 14th ranked prospect coming into the year. You would have on March 15th, you would have done Jose Soriano for Bubba Chandler and done cartwheels, right? So anyway, I don't know. Bottom line, Logan Henderson off to a nice start this year. I think Chandler's future is a hell of a lot brighter.
Yeah, awesome. Love to hear that. What's your thought? What about you, Nick? Are you in, out, buy, sell, hold on Logan Henderson?
I'm probably at the hold stage. I do agree with you with the whole injury thing. That is kind of just comes with the territory with any young pitcher is the whole injury thing. But I'm just all in on the Brewers, man. They made Kyle Harrison look like an ace. They're making these guys look so Quinn Priester. Maybe trade Logan Henderson to the Red Sox. then Logan Henderson back to the Brewers, and he'll be an ace. Because
Like
that
levels
just
up.
seems to be kind of how it goes. But when you were listing off those names, Dave, I was thinking to myself, for some reason, Marcus Stroman popped in my head.
Yep.
And then I found out he was 5'7". That is tiny.
Yeah.
Guy.
Like, so much so that I was like, this has to be like an edited page. And then I found like more pages that listed him at 5'7". And I am just astonished that a
Right.
5'7" pitcher was good for like a small amount of time.
Yeah.
11 seasons.
Yeah.
This is now a Marcus Stroman podcast.
Right. The Stro Show.
A former Cub, so
Yeah.
small piece of harm goes out to Stroman. So, but yeah, that he was a little guy on the mound.
Yep. So yeah, Stro didn't meet my criteria because the query I did was better, at least 9 strikeouts per 9. So when you want,
Yes, yeah.
Stro doesn't.
I was just thinking of short pitchers.
Right. No, and again, I did specifically would say right-handed because there are left-handed is a little better track record or whatever. But anyway.
All right, well, that's been our Stroman minute of the pod. Let's go ahead and jump on over to that's going to wrap up our in the current major league system. Kind of get into some of these rising prospects that are getting some helium in the last month or two, and see where we're at on these guys if we're buying or selling. First guy we're going to talk about is Theo Gillen of the Tampa Bay Rays. Here we are again, another top prospect for the Rays. They continue to churn these guys out. Theo's having a huge breakout year right now. Currently with a 1031 OPS. He's already got up to 11 home runs, which would be a career high for him. And he's got 25 stolen bases so far this year, which is, I know it's still low A's, so the stolen base numbers can kind of be taken with a grain of salt. But 25 stolen bases is nothing really to bat an eye at. So I'm curious to see where you guys are at on Theo Gillen. I know we've talked about him, Nick, in the past, I believe, on our prospect preview shows at the beginning of the season. But yeah, 25 stolen bases, 11 home runs, 1031 OPS. What do we got, Dave?
Theo kind of came into the season. For whatever reason, I had this preconceived notion that Theo was shorter than he is. I don't know, maybe I had Logan Henderson on the mind. I don't know. But whatever. So he came into 2026 as an eye over bat type, which with very little pop. And that archetype doesn't always work out as it advances in minors because the pitchers start challenging you, and you can't just wait out crummy pitchers to walk you or whatever. But he's able to discern between balls and strikes with aplomb. He has a 20% walk rate last year at single A. So Theo decided to swing the bat this year, and kind of holy crap. That as a 20-year-old, now he's in high A. Still taking the walks. He's got the second best on-base percentage in the Sally League, the Southern Atlantic League. But he's doing a ton of damage. He's also got the second best slug. He's even 10th in ISO. So there's some debate about whether he can stick in center. That doesn't necessarily matter in all fantasy leagues. The leagues that I play in, we do have delineation between left, center, right, but most are just straight, outfield. So whether he's a true center fielder or he's more like a Brandon Marsh, it works in a pinch, as far as defensively. But as far as fantasy goes, major arrow up. Might be soon regarded as like a universal top 10 or 15 prospects in baseball. And since he's in the Tampa system, I'm gonna hang a super lazy comp on him from yesteryear, or maybe a little Carl Crawford in him. Like a 20-40 guy, which is awfully tasty for virtually any format.
Yeah, love that. What do you got, Nick?
Theo Gillen. I'm in. I'm all the way in. It's that toolsy outfield. I love the Carl Crawford comp. And just like the Rays, I trust them. I don't trust them to actually call him up. He'll probably see the big leagues at 23, 24, even though the Angels would have called him up a week ago. So definitely excited. I do want to hear both of your thoughts, actually. I traded Theo Gillen in the offseason after the our first year player draft was in March. So this trade happened right after that. I traded Theo and 2 future firsts in 2028. So that who cares about those? They're too far in the future. I'll probably trade back for him anyway. For Cade Anderson. And I've been obsessed, Dave, for with Cade Anderson for as long as I've heard of him. So like about a year now.
Right.
So now I'm somewhat, I don't want to say kicking myself because I'm happy I have Cade, but it's more just like the loss in value because I think I probably could have kept one first at this point. But you also have to look at Cade Anderson's trajectory has skyrocketed as well. So it's
Right.
probably still even, but where are you at on that?
No, I don't hate that. There is, tin step, right? So there is a little bit of concern, whatever. And then there's also Seattle's rotation is pretty, full right now. So there's not like, a lot of teams would already have Cade Anderson in the big leagues.
Yes.
I was talking to you guys earlier about LSU. Who were we talking about? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I lived in Baton Rouge for 2 years, and so I became obsessed with LSU baseball. Cade Anderson obviously went to LSU. Cade Anderson for me is a little bit. I'm gonna hang another like lazy whatever. But like, what if Tom Glavine had John Smoltz strikeout stuff? That's a hell of a pitcher. And Cade's. There's just nothing to doubt in the profile, at least for right now. Now he's gonna blow out his arm on the next whatever. Or there's plenty of guys who dominated the minors and then came up and struggled in the bigs, but there's just nothing to point to in Cade Anderson's profile that's like, here's the weakness. So yeah, I don't know. Gillen is much less likely to reach his ceiling than Cade is, I guess is what.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Great. Love
and
that.
Like you said, the 2028 first. That's
fake.
That's someone's problem, and that's your problem in 4 years or 3 years.
There's always more prospects.
There's always more prospects, Dave.
And hopefully by that point, Cade's up for your team dominating, and then all of a sudden you're like, you're picking those first round picks are like 10, 11, 12 or something.
Oh, they're always late, Jason. They're always
exactly.
late.
Nice. Exactly. Let's go on to our next prospect here, and that's going to be Franklin Arias of the Boston Red Sox. He himself, just like Theo's, having a really nice breakout this year, starting to really gain a lot of helium on the prospect rankings and lists. It's up to a 952 OPS, slugging just shy of 600. He's got 13 home runs, 24 extra base hits, which is actually really good to see because he's always been more of like just a contact and hit over power type hitter. But he does have really good contact skills for a 20-year-old. Currently has a 141 WRC plus. I feel like I need to, I know Dave been taking the leadoff spot here, but I think we need to let Nick
switch it up.
Yeah, well, he's the Boston Red Sox. He's the.
I got my Sea
surprised
Dogs
he's not.
hat
I'm
on.
saying. I'm surprised
nice.
he's not wearing his Portland Sea Dogs shirt today. I should be appropriate.
I'm wearing my Giants shirt from Tokyo.
Oh yeah,
nice.
But this is gonna surprise you, Jason. I'm out, all the way out on Franklin Arias. Mostly just because the Red Sox are not able to develop a hitting prospect. I'm done with Christian Campbell, Roman Anthony. Don't even get me started. He's too busy going to bars that I go to instead of fixing his hand.
Is this inside information coming from boots on the ground? You saw Roman Anthony at a local bar
with pictures.
Okay.
I am not snitching on my man Roman. But all I'm saying is him and Marcelo need to get their head out of their ass.
Yeah.
Anyway. I think this is too much of a breakout for me to think that it's real, if that makes sense. Like he got too good too quick. And I think it's just kind of like a fool's gold type thing. I am going to Portland in a week, so I hope he does not get called up to AAA so I can go see him. But currently the only thing I'm trusting in the Red Sox development is pitching because Peyton Tolle is awesome.
Conley Early's awesome.
We've got Iacon, another friend of the program
another LSU
guy. There's Marcus Phillips, who I think is also going to be good, and we've got Witherspoon, who is figuring stuff out, who we talked about a few weeks ago, Jason. But even since then, Witherspoon's been great. But this is Franklin Arias, and yeah, I'm not fully buying it. Obviously would love for him to be great, but I just don't know if it's going to be like people are like Willie Adames comps. And I'm like, no, let him. One, that might not even be good at this point. Two, I just don't fully see it because I need to see more power for a longer period of time and not just how many games has it been? 200 at bats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Dave? Are you out on too, like Nick, or
no? I'm actually well. Okay, I'll just explain. So Arias, I just said earlier about how why do we re-rank prospects at the end of May? Like we don't. What difference? We have no data, right? Like nothing's changed, right? And Arias is the flagship station for that. He was ranked 60th in our Fantasy Six Pack. My buddy Rich Thayer, who's my co-host on my podcast. His offseason top 100, he ranked 60th. Got off to this ridiculous start to the year. He was known as a contact over power prospect. We talked about that earlier. He socked 8 nukes in April and 1196 OPS in April. April showers brought more homers in May. Another 4 homers in May, but not quite nuclear hitting, but still 4 tanks, 884 OPS. Now, so far in June, 55 plate appearances. He's only got 1 homer, and the OPS is 697. So it's almost like the small sample sizes of the previous months shouldn't have drastically changed people's opinions. Now, all that said, I like Arias a lot. For me, as far as Rich's top 10 prospects, if I had to pick the hitters anyway, if I had to pick one hitter who's going to have a 10-year big league career and rack up, let's say 35 Fangraphs WAR, is Arias, no doubt about it. I've got another. I love the lazy comps. I've got another one. He reminds me of Edgar Renteria. Good batting average, some pop, a little bit of speed, but a no doubt shortstop. Major baseball IQ, major makeup. Somebody who's going to play in the big leagues. Almost no doubt about it.
I really hope that you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the trick is, if I'm right, Edgar Renteria doesn't win you any leagues. Is the trick.
He was the last out of the World Series in 2004, though. So
he was. Although he was also drove in the winning run, I think. Yeah. So 97, I want to say. So
well, I think Nick needs to just take off his ruby colored glasses that he has for some of the Boston guys, because I'm with Dave. I'm in on Franklin. I think talking about a 20-year-old that's still maturing. The body frame is still maturing. He's talking about a guy 5'11", 170. So I think he could probably still fill out a little bit more as he goes a little bit more mature. And I think you do get to see some of that power coming forward. And the good thing is too is this is his first taste of AA, and he's not looking overwhelmed. He's actually excelling at AA. So that's also more reason to buy in on what we're getting from Franklin here. But yeah, I think Nick's just too negative on his he's down in the dungeon over there in Boston with it. It's taking all his anger out on the big league club, out on the prospects as well.
Before we move on to the other guy, or next guy, or whatever, the Roman Anthony, believe it or not, was my preseason pick for American League MVP. So a little off on that one. Arias actually, I guess, is not old enough to go to the bars that Roman Anthony's going to. But
there you go.
Yeah. Our theory, our working theory on Anthony is that he just got too rocked up, and that's why he's constantly straining the muscles and the whole thing, whatever. But anyway, I don't know. We'll see. I'm still convinced that Anthony, before all said and done, will win MVP.
Oh, he's still going to be great, but he needs to stop going to bars.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Get out of Southie, right? Come on.
Get out of Southie. Exactly, Jason. He's literally in Southie. You have been to the bar that he's been to.
Yeah, see, get out of Southie. Get back into the backfields. All right, well, we've buried the lead long enough. Time to jump into the Seth Hernandez talk. Right now, he's been gaining a bunch of steam. Obviously, some graduations have helped that. But Seth Hernandez, 19-year-old pitcher, 6th overall pick last year. He was the first prep pitcher drafted. This season right now, 6 starts at low A, then promoted to get to the high A. He's made 12 starts across both leagues. 42% strikeout rate, 94% strand rate. MLB Pipeline has him ranked ahead of Cade Anderson, and I know Dave kind of already alluded to it, but I am agreeing with Dave. He is not the number 1 prospect. I think Nick agrees. I think it's a whole 3 for 3 on this. Cade Anderson is the number 1 pitching prospect in all of baseball. That's not taking anything away from Seth Hernandez. I just think you get a established college pitcher in Cade Anderson who should be making his debut at some point here. If Seattle had anywhere to put him. But yeah, I still like what we see from Seth Hernandez. Got the 90s, upper 90s fastball. Both breaking pitches are really good, and then even the changeups, above average pitch as well. So, again, still only 19 years old, fresh out of high school last year. So, really like to see what we got on him here at the low A, and curious to see what you guys' thoughts are on Seth Hernandez. We'll go with Dave again, dear. Kick it off, the guest.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought we were letting Nick do these ones. My bad. All right, so Seth Hernandez is our electric factory, right? Everybody is on the buzz, especially at the beginning of the season. Everybody's on the buzz of Seth Hernandez. Using, again, Rich's rankings from Fantasy Six Pack, he's currently ranked as the 10th best prospect in baseball and the 4th best pitching prospect. He's behind Rich. Now, that was as of June 1st before Thomas White got hurt. He had Thomas White ahead of him also, and then I don't remember who else. Doesn't matter. Anyway, if you're watching the show or listening to it or whatever, you know all the buzz that he generated in his pro debut. I mean, we're talking he was in like biology class last year, right? And now he's pitching in the pros. But he started at Bradenton in the Florida State League and put up video game numbers: 50 punchies in 28 frames and a .71 whip, which that's just unheard of. And again, he's 19 years old. What are you doing here? But then, so the Pirates recognized this level wasn't a challenge for him, moved him up to High A Greensboro. The Greensboro Grasshoppers, incidentally, which just minor league team names just rule.
They love it.
But anyway, and that's where our story gets a little bit tricky. The question with Seth was, and of course, again, he was in biology class. The command is a question. There's no question with stuff plus fastball, but the command had been questioned quite a bit. Now facing more seasoned bats in High A, he's walked 17 batters in just 23 and a third innings, and he's given up 6 homers. That's a lot of homers for just 23 and a third frames. Across the two levels, like you mentioned already, Jason, the numbers are great. However, in a Stephen A. Smith voice, I would like to posit one thing before we wrap up. If you're a contending team in Dynasty, and I'm talking like championship level contending, not like I'm trying to make the playoffs or in a head-to-head league or whatever, right? I would move Seth Hernandez this year. I totally would. I think it's not out of the question that Seth Hernandez's value is currently the highest it will ever be, because the fallout rate on prep righties is just outrageous. There's like Josh Beckett who worked out great, and nobody else who were drafted in the first round. So anyway, I'm not, Seth Hernandez probably much more likely will be a great big league starter and whatever, but also, flags fly forever, the whole thing. And it's not out of the question that, again, that he is this great prospect and strikes a million batters out and whatever. And then we just look across the state, and Andrew Painter exists. So, anyway, that's all I got.
No, those are great points. And Andrew Painter recently sent back down to the minor leagues, having an awful 2026 season. So yeah, we alluded to it before earlier. Tin snap, no such thing with pitching prospects. So yeah, I feel like you're right. The Seth Hernandez helium is at an all-time high right now. What about you, Nick? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm right there with the both of you. I mean, best case scenario, Seth Hernandez is helping your team in 3 years, because he's going to lose a year for an injury at one point. So I'm with the both of you there on that. He's not number one. Was traded in my home league, 24-teamer, a straight up trade, 1-for-1. Seth Hernandez for Travis Bazzana. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I'm with it. Like, that's fine. Would it like probably a more flashier name? But like, Travis Bazzana's good, and he's going to be good for the foreseeable future. Yeah. So I think it's an interesting deal just to look at, because those 1-for-1s are so interesting to me. Because like usually like it's supplemented with more prospects or future picks, but the 1-for-1 pitcher for hitter is always an interesting one to me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, for me, not necessarily just straight dynasty, but like more like a keeper type league, or we're like again, my home league, we've got like contracts and the whole thing, whatever. If you offered up Seth Hernandez to a team that's out of contention and is looking to sell pieces and whatever, you're getting literally whatever you want. It just, what do you want? Just go shopping, no problem. I'll give you whatever you want off my roster for Seth Hernandez, and it might be a little penny wise and pound foolish. I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a really good call on the sell high on Seth Hernandez. All right, well, that's gonna do it real quick. But before we get out of here, I got a quick question for you guys. I don't know if you saw, but the race to 10 pitching wins is over. We have a pitcher with 10 wins, and do you have a guess, or do you know who it is?
Aaron Ashby.
Yeah, and I was about to say, if you don't know, you know how many starts he's made? 1 start.
0, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, maybe 1.
1 start. I think he was an opener at one point. But yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Brad Lord has like 6 or 7.
Yeah, just goes to show you those pesky Brewers. They continue just to claw back at every chance they can get. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this week. Dave, why don't you take a minute real quick and let everyone know where they can find you?
Sure. Yeah, you can find me on. I still call it Twitter. You can find me on Twitter. Yep. It's at DW the original. And I would love it. Give me a follow. Hit me up on Twitter with any baseball questions you got, fantasy or otherwise. Always like to talk ball, hockey. I'm a big hockey guy too. So talk to me about baseball and hockey on the Twitters.
Love that. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And yeah, we'll be back next week, and see you guys next time.
All right. Thanks again, guys.